Hello, and welcome to the Elevenses Business Show, where we take time out to reflect on our business, the business world, technology, finance, and all things for business success. We are your hosts, MMY, and I'm Y of MMY. And my name is Yejide Adeoye of Logic to Create and YA Creates. And now I'm going to let the two M's introduce themselves.
Which M? Okay.
The first M.
Okay, so my name is Maureen Egbe. I'm a digital competence coach, M, as you can say, for Maureen. And I help people in their businesses with their systems and processes so they can find the time to work and do the things they enjoy in their jobs. And I pass it on to the other M.
Thank you, M. My name is Mauva, M, a Malion, M, Services Limited. Sorry, yes, compose.
Thank you, ladies, for that wonderful introduction there. I think I should call myself James Bond or something, like I have two M's on each side. Anyway, so today we'll be discussing the importance of CPD. So for those who don't know, CPD means Continuing Professional Development. And according to the Chartered Institute of Professional Development, CPD stands for a combination of approaches, ideas, and techniques that will help you manage your own learning and growth. So ladies, that's the definition. And, you know, we're going to have a conversation about it today. So what I'd like to start off with is, what does CPD mean to you? Maureen, would you like to start?
Okay, all righty. So when we
Sorry, M.
It's the M's, the battle of the M's. All right, I'm ME. As in my initials.
Okay.
Right, so CPD. So I know CPD as continuous personal development. Right. But I also know it as continuous professional development. So I see that so for me, there's a distinction of that when I'm actually developing my own personal growth and then things also for the business specifically. So so what it is for me is about personal growth, making sure that I'm on top of my game. And it's about building my confidence as well. So when I know, you know, I'm training myself up, educating myself, getting more knowledge, it builds up my confidence so I can be the best that I can be personally and within my business. So it is about not just feeling stuck, but always just growing, nurturing, and just looking after myself intellectually as well as, you know, internally as well.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Very interesting, because ME, you brought up a very good point there where you say it continues personal development. I never thought of it like that. I've always thought of it of professional development.
Yeah.
So I suppose I've been doing both without even knowing.
Yeah.
Which is good actually, I suppose, because as you said, like it helps you to develop your personal well-being and to try and be on top of your own game, you know. It obviously helps you to expand your knowledge as well. So in that way that, you know, you can give more in your business and, you know, and with the personal life too, because you can have conversations in your personal life, can't you, about certain things?
Yeah.
I think I'll stop there because I might go a bit too deep. So
no, brilliant. Yeah, and that's, you you ladies are right. It is about the confidence and professional development, and also, yeah, the personal one. So yeah, I don't really relate the CPD to that, but it is that as well in terms of the personal. And for me, I've always seen it as like an investment in oneself, and in terms of wherever you are, even if it's business or employment, it is that thing of investing to achieve better outcomes, or to step up in different levels and things like that. So so I guess we're all kind of reading off the same page in terms of what CPD means to us. So what I was also wanted to find out from you ladies was what kind of CPD activities do you actually partake in and are aware of?
Oh, wow. So much. Yeah. I think that when we first put this up as a topic, it was like, well, okay, CPD. Again, it goes back down to the personal versus the professional. And I think if you, like, for example, I'm part of the LPI Institute. So it's a professional institute for the area of training, so that I'm affiliated to. And so they have training webinar sessions and so forth, which actually gives you certificates towards your CPD. Yeah, so that's your professional development. So, you know, when people ask you about that, you can actually prove that you've attended because you've had this certificate. So I will attend like my professional institute, but then for my personal development, I mean, there's lots where webinars, seminars, conferences, Facebook groups. So different places where I can learn, or someone's teaching something that's going to give me tips and tools, that's where I'll go and listen in. But I'm not necessarily going to get a certificate, but still I'm going to get some form of growth, some form of knowledge that I can then apply within my business or within my own personal self-development.
Definitely. Yeah.
So Maureen, when you say that you listen to Facebook groups, etc., where you listen to things, do you actually document it anywhere?
Well, see, that's where I fall down. Because I thought, you know, because initially I started doing that. So no, like in LinkedIn, you could go in there and you start putting down all your CPD. And like, oh my gosh, I'm going to need a whole web page. Because I might attend, I listen to podcasts, I listen to webinars and all of that day in, day out. Literally every day I would listen to 1 or 2 podcasts or a webinar. So can you imagine how much, you know, how much information that's going to take up? So I think it's about pulling out the key ones which need to be then recorded on places like LinkedIn.
Yeah,
great question.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Must tell you more about the LinkedIn thing. But anyway, yeah. So for me, I'm involved with everything. Anything that I see, I think I was interested in. I'm like, you know, subscribing, or, you know, I'm going to ask for a one-to-one maybe training or something like that, or just join a group webinar. As you say, Maureen, I'm a member of the Association of Accounting Technicians. So that's my supervisory body, and their requirement is to do CPD. They don't actually say to you, you have to do 6 hours of CPD a month or 10 hours of CPD a year, unlike some other higher organizations. But they say that you have to assess where you want to go throughout the year, and just basically just see where your CPD, you need to improve your CPD or your knowledge, basically. So for instance, I could think, okay, I'd like to know a bit more. Actually, no, a bit more closer to home. COVID. When COVID hit, who knew about furlough? No, exactly. So I had to do a lot of training, webinars, conferences, even discussions with other accountants about furlough, just to get an understanding. So I know, so I'm improving my knowledge for my clients, you know, because you have to understand, like, you know, who can be furloughed, you know, how you calculate the furlough, and then how you claim the furlough. And it's not as simple as, you know, oh, I can go on this, do this and do that. No, you have to like go follow the procedures. And also with my accountancy body too. Sorry, that was with HMRC. So, and HMRC has a range of webinars you can actually go on to and watch whenever you're ready, or you can subscribe to a live webinar training. And also with my accountancy body, they produce, or they have, should I say, webinars. They have this thing called branch events. Branch events are like committees where they basically they're dotted throughout the country, basically in England. I think it's about 50 branches, I think. So what the committee does is that they organize events throughout the year for their members, and then they organize the speakers. And so they put on the event, and you, when we could attend, you could attend, have a sandwich, discuss things, you know, mingle, and we sit down and have the event, and they would probably train you about something like, I don't know, taxes, obviously taxes, by payroll or something particular. And then they'll count towards your CPD. Now, because of COVID, obviously it's all online now. So we can reach further afield.
Yeah.
But one thing I'd like to say though is that I would travel anywhere for CPD as long as it's relating to me and something important to me and my business and my clients. Like
okay, I'm gonna leave you there because you're leading on to the next question.
I'll be carried away, sorry.
So take a breath, take a drink.
Okay.
So yeah, I totally agree. Well, I'm not part of the same membership groups as you guys, but I'm part of the British Computer Society, so the Chartered Institute of IT. And so yeah, always been invited to webinars and so on, and also part of Digital Leaders as well, where, you know, there's all kinds of CPD opportunities, and the opportunities are quite good because they kind of, again, like CPD could be about knowledge sharing and idea sharing and those kind of things. So writing posts to share with your peers in those kind of groups, or being part of a podcast or like a round table, those are kind of like kind of activities that I take part in. I was thinking about this in terms of my creative world, and I was like, oh, what do I do in terms of that? But I'm always having to learn to use new materials and things like that. So there's certain like maker websites that you can go on where you can learn to make a certain project and things like that. So that's good. And when I first started to make jewelry, we used to do meetups, and we used to actually go to like the South Bank Centre and, you know, buy all the different materials and sit there together, learning how to make stuff. And normally one person was better than everyone else, so they could teach us and those kinds of things. So yeah, CPD is kind of, there's such a wide range, like we've spoken about, and it can be done in many different forms. And what I was reading up was that one size doesn't fit all. So it's about who you are, your learning style, what you aim to achieve, and how you're gonna implement it further along in the line, and how it helps your growth and, you know, your personal development as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Can I add as well, or ask you to, do you think that it's important to align yourself with the institute to the profession that you're in? Because most of these places you have to pay a membership, so it's not free.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I think for professional credibility, and also in terms of just being able to communicate and see what your peers are doing, and to be able to learn from each other, and get the confidence to start putting your ideas forward. Because you might be sitting there in your behind the computer thinking, oh, I think this idea is really great or whatever. But when you put it out into these kind of groups and share it, then getting that kind of feedback, and, you know, you might find that somebody has aligned views with you and opposing. So how do you deal with challenges? And because not everything is always hunky-dory, isn't it? So those kind of things, yeah, it's like, oh no, that's ridiculous, that's never going to happen. So yeah, I think it's really valuable, and yeah, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, definitely, because I have to do it. No, it's not buts, no maybes, because they could pick me out of a hat and say, okay, next week we're going to check on Malion Accounting Services to see what they're doing by their CPD.
Yeah.
Wow. I need to be, oh yes. Oh, they're very strict, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, I think some areas are more rigid than others. So it is very, yeah, you're not going to get anywhere or get that clientele if you ain't.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I think that moves us kind of nicely onto the next bit. So in terms of why do you feel that CPD is important in your business, and to incorporate it in your business?
I think it's key, like just what you guys have just said, just like what you're saying the other day, instead of knowing what's going on in your area. So for me, it's about, and it's something that you mentioned more about supporting your customers. So you're, like you said, you'll do anything to get CPD that's going to help you with your customers. So yeah, for me, it's why are you in business? You know, why are you doing what you're doing? So in order to best serve your customers, your clients, you need to know what's going on. You know, in terms of yourself, like for me personally, you might be able to know something inside out technically, okay, you academically, all of that, but if you don't understand yourself, you know, how to manage your stress, how to manage your emotions, how to deal with all of these other things that can affect your business as well. It's important. So it's not just the academic side. It's not just about how do I learn to do sales, how do I make money. It's also about acknowledging and developing your own personal growth and being able to communicate with your customers and your clients effectively. So for me, it's important for your business in that sense, but it's also about being the expert in your field. You know, it's like, why should anyone trust you? And I was going to share a story, but I think I'll take too long. But anyway, an example for me will be, you'll have somebody in the workplace. They've learned a system and they've done the same thing day in, day out, over and over and over again. Systems being upgraded. So it's like, you know, some people like be on Microsoft Office 2003, but then we're now on 2016. Because they haven't followed, they haven't developed, and they're stuck and they don't know what new processes there are, new opportunities. So it is important for you to stay on top of your business and stay on top of what's going on.
But some people don't want to develop like that. They don't want to, you with me? They're set in their ways, you with me? And with regards to your example by Microsoft, it's like learning a new system and they can't be bothered.
Yeah, well, it's part of it is that they can't be bothered. It's because they're too scared that they're not going to get it. It's going to slow them down, you know.
But I think for some people, they don't see the benefit of learning that new system. So they may follow other, you know, CPD activities, but having an up-to-date IT system may not be something that they see as top of their list and priority in terms of, you know, servicing their clients. So, you know, I've worked with some organizations, charities, where they have old IT systems, but they're very on trend about the creative and the curating world and all of that other kind of stuff, and they're blogging and they're networking and they're doing all that other stuff. But in terms of the systems behind them, they're quite old. Yeah. Do you see what I mean?
No, okay, but let's get clear. That's just an example of someone not moving along. So it's not saying that you've got to have the up-to-date IT system. It's just an example. But the thing about it is that if you're going to use that example, it might take them an age to do something a whole day, whereas something up to date would just take them 10, 15 minutes, an hour or so. But obviously it is about choosing or knowing what you need to do to keep on top of, keep in the game within your business area.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so yes, yeah. Also for me, it's networking opportunities. You know, so when you do your CPD, you're going to meet other people, like you mentioned, Yejide, in terms of the other either experts that can help you, you know, other people that can provide you with opportunities to move on. So again, this is a great space. CPD is not just about learning things yourself, but it's opportunities to mix and grow with other people, collaborations and so on.
Definitely, definitely.
And to go on the back of yours, Maureen, like with my accountancy body, they do a yearly conference, they do. And there's like hundreds of people, obviously in the same profession. And they also have, you know, different stores of like different softwares or you know, subscriptions, you know, just things that can help within your business. We do this once a year. Obviously, it's a pay for because, you know, they have to pay for the hotel and things like that. But it's a great way to meet other people as well, you know, and to, as you say, collaborate.
Yeah.
Because I found a few collaborations via that way, and we still like talking as well. And that's part of CPD as well, just discussions about learning new things. You know, it's not all about reading and attending webinars. It's also about discussions. So with so obviously it is important to do CPD, especially for, well, not especially for, but you know, in accountancy profession, as I said earlier about COVID. That was a perfect example about, you know, keeping knowledge up to date, because you had to, that forced my hand basically, that I had to learn something new because of COVID. But in particular, it's also to do with your knowledge, but you can't forget just the soft skills as well. As in, like, even this last week, I attended just an online webinar about, you know, how to stay sane within the accountancy profession, because it's just mad busy. And although you know these things, it's like you just kind of forget, because you're so busy, you forget, you know, the simple stuff. You forget to take a 5-minute break or 10-minute break, you know, when you can from the screen, you know, just go for a quick walk outside, or stick your head out the window for 5 minutes, you know, get some fresh air, you know. And one thing that really resonated with me is that they said to have what you're working on just that in front of you on your desk, nothing else. That would actually stress you out. That pile of paperwork, you keep looking at it saying, oh God, I've got to do that, I've got to do that. That will stress you out. Don't put that on your desk. Just put what you're working on in front of you on your desk and work on that. And you know what? It's like you do know that, but sometimes you need to be reminded about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And another example of soft skills is that with my profession as well, my professional body, they put on a master course, and it says about running your business. Although you think, yeah, okay, I've attended that when I first started, but it's best to go back every so often, just to a refresher. Because you do forget things, because when you're in your business, you're working like mad.
Yeah. And
you forget certain things. You think, yeah, I'm going to implement that, and you just forget.
Yeah.
So it's a good refresher too, you know?
Yeah,
totally.
Definitely. No, yeah, I agree with, you know, a lot of what you ladies have said. And I think the thing about the soft skills as well is, funny enough, I don't know, engage in CPD activities where we're doing that kind of stuff in terms of mindfulness or whatever too much nowadays. I used to before, but now a lot of, you know, what I kind of have in my business is about just staying up to date a lot, because a lot of changes in the like security world, and there's always a new hack or worm or virus or something like that. And so, you know, for me, especially like with WordPress websites, is to stay up to date. Oh, what kind of plugins are getting attacked today or tomorrow? Do you see what I mean? And why? And then just making sure that is communicated with my clients, and because then they have more confidence in that, you know, what you're doing. And it is, like Maureen said, being the expert in your field. And that's, I think the expert thing is there's so much to learn and know as well. So sometimes it's just like, oh my God, this is overwhelming. So it is having that focus, and taking off everything else off the desk and saying, all right, this is the one. But yeah, I think it's really important to just think about all these different areas of CPD, and not just about getting the certificate and recording hours. It's like, you know, the value to yourself, your customers, your clients, even to community, because, you know, with social interest companies or enterprise companies, a lot of them have to service the community and know what's going on. And staying on trend. And sometimes it's good to even try and be slightly ahead of the trend, or even help make the trend, to say, all right, well, this is what we kind of envision that's going to happen in the future. And, you know, that was like Maureen's kind of Zoom workshop in terms of like Zoom fatigue and those kind of, you know, her blog on that and the information. And everyone's, oh yeah, Zoom. But it's like, you know, you're going to start burning out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, being able to envision that and then provide tips and things for people to think about that was, you know, is a good thing to be doing, while everyone's just like, oh, I need to jump on Zoom. So, you know, or just providing people on how to use Zoom is like how to not let Zoom drain the life out of you. So that is, I think that's why CPD is really important, and putting those things out there. So yeah. All right. So moving on really quickly, because we only have a few more minutes now. So I think you guys have really already mentioned it, but I'll just ask you again, how often do you engage in CPD? And what was the last CPD activity that you undertook that really kind of like made an impact for you?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Wow. That's a question and a half. You know, the impact thing. Okay, like I say, I listen to webinars, podcasts every day. You know, and like I said, it's just become a habit. I didn't even think about it as being CPD. You know, and they all impact me. Seriously, because you can never know too much. And I think just like what Mauva had said in terms of that refresher, you know, one of the key things that I'd learned from Tony Robbins was that sometimes you might learn something and you've learned it, but it might take having to listen to it or go over it over and over and over again before you actually get it. You know, because you know you had conversations and you know people will be like that, yeah, I know that, but actually you're not applying it. You actually don't really get it. So so yeah, basically, yes, every day. And there's always, I don't you've heard this, I'm sure you've heard this philosophy from me, there's always gold in everything. So I think no matter what, you'll always find something that will impact you, you know, if you're listening carefully.
Yeah, same as Maureen. Even this morning, I had CPD this morning. I was looking at, okay, and I was not glad today, but it's a CRM system called Zoho. So I was looking at that with them this morning. But as I said before, like if because I'm subscribed to HMRC's emails as well. And so anything that, I won't say excites me, but anything that I think I need to have, you know, a bit more information about, because tax is a minefield, you know, because you can listen to something, the next day you're going to forget. You're human, you know, your brain can't hold everything, but when you start using it, then you remember things, you know, but if you're not using something in particular, you're going to forget. So I'm all signed up to HMRC webinars. And I think I was going to say earlier that I've traveled far and wide for CPDs. I've traveled to Manchester, I've traveled to Liverpool. It all depends on what it is, obviously, what it is. And in 1 week, I think, yeah, 1 week I went to Manchester, Liverpool, and Birmingham. That was great. Loved it.
So you basically hotel hopping.
and don't forget as well, as I say, like because I'm training certain people in my team, even that is CPD for them especially, and partly for me too, because I'm just refreshing myself too, you know, because they can tell me something and think, oh, do you know what, I forgot about that. Because, you know, they're quite new qualified, you know, so they could teach me something as well, you know.
Yeah. No, that's actually quite a valid point about the developing your team and stuff like that. And again, you don't think of it, you know, you've had interns and you don't think of it as CPD. You're just like, oh, well, I'm just having an intern or something. But again, that's about your growth and learning to be a leader, and, you know, working with other people, you know, how they work and all that kind of stuff. So that's actually a valid point that I've kind of, again, haven't thought of that as CPD. But like Maureen said, and Mauva, it is that thing. If you're doing it every day, it's very regular. But I think for me, the most impactful 2 activities of CPD I've done of recent is one, last year I went to the National Cybersecurity Cyber UK conference in Glasgow. So I got to travel, which is great. And it was just like the massive eye opener. I was just like, oh my goodness, like, around people that I never thought I'd be around, you know, the military and all these kind of, do you see what I mean? Like, it was very interesting. People from so many government departments, and they're like, oh, so what department are you from? I'm like, I'm just an SME, you know, just a little me one woman band kind of thing. So yeah, and again, the networking opportunities were amazing, and just seeing, you know, people pitching cybersecurity products and all that kind of stuff, great. And you know, last week I actually recorded a video about my journey into cybersecurity and how I stumbled into it. And again, that, you know, that was just like, oh, it makes you realize your growth and where you've been and how you've moved along. And yeah, a lot of that I was talking about, you know, the kind of courses I've been on and, you know, what I'm studying and all that kind of stuff. So then it's just like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, there is some growth here, and I've seen how I've been able to implement it in my business too. So yeah, we love CPD by the sounds of it. And I guess one quick tip for our viewers or advice.
Okay, I would say I think we totally all agree that CPD is necessary and that you need to do it.
Definitely.
What I would say is also look for groups that are above what you know, so that you know that you're learning from them. Okay, I know we have peers on the same level, but let's go higher so you know that you're always learning more and you can stay on top of what's going on.
Definitely. Great advice. Thank you, Maureen. Mauva?
My tip is, what I do is, in my diary, I put CPD in the front, in the title, so I can, search for CPDs. Also, what I normally do is, when I'm on a CPD or just finished a CPD, I quickly type in, sorry, what am I doing that for, innit? I quickly type
What was you doing there, Mauva?
I was just typing like that.
Oh, typing.
The CPD search.
Checking.
I quickly type in what I've mainly learned on that CPD in the calendar.
Yeah.
So just in case, like my accountancy body does come to me, I said, well, here's my my thingamajiggy.
Yeah,
that's great.
And, yes,
that's
and also save any PDFs or any Word documents in a folder called CPD and the date. Evidence.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think for my tip, it's basically off the back of what both of you have said, and most recently just yourself, Maura, is that documentation is key, because you forget what you've done, and looking back, you need to, you might spend a while trying to recap on everything you've done and miss key things and those kind of things. So yeah, document as much as possible, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, I know Maureen's loving that, or Word document, or if it's in your calendar, if you have journals, books, whatever it is, just keep that record. It's really important. And if you are from a profession that they're chasing you up, at least you've got the evidence.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I'm going. Yeah. But what I'm loving, out of all of that, is about the reflection, because we forget to actually really reflect on what we've got from it.
Yeah. And then that in turn helps you celebrate, which then brings it all back to what Maureen said at the beginning about is actually about your personal as well as your professional, because when you see how you've grown, you can celebrate yourself, you can, feel elevated in what you've done. And, so CPD is great, do it, document it, and we hope you've enjoyed today's show. Please do leave us comments below, share your CPD experiences, let us know how you've been getting on, and if you want to know about some of the groups we're part of, we're happy to share that information. Just drop us a comment below, contact us via our social media accounts, and we'd and please do share our video and bring other people into our world. As you can see, we love to chat, we love to have fun, but ultimately we love business and growth and progressing. So thank you guys. And we see you on the next episode of Elevenses.
Nice.
All right, take care and have a great day. Thank you.
Bye. See you later.